冠を受け取ってきたんで、夫人から頼まれてた依頼品は揃ったんやで、うっかりしとったけど、白馬もいただいてきて、もう預けてある。マーハジェドで盗んできたんだよね。いいや。いただいてきたんや。お姉ちゃんがそう思うんならそうなんだろう。お姉ちゃんの中ではな。これで3つとも揃ったんで、夫人に報告やね。
Welcome, Henry. I'm glad you're here. The Lord be praised. What's on your mind?
I brought the wine.
Wonderful, wonderful. No wedding is complete without good wine. Find somewhere here to put it down. I'll send for a servant to bring it later. I hope you had no problems acquiring it.
休日大会で勝てへんかったけど、交渉で手に入れたんよな。
Problems? Huh.
交渉失敗すると、入手が大変だったのかもしれないね。
As if I didn't know you.
冠は、材料を届けるはずの人が帰ってこんくてな。材料を妥協するかどうかの選択を迫られてたんやけど、捜索に行ったら、即に襲われて亡くなってたんや。素材を回収して、こだわりの一級品を届けることができたで。
Brought the roan, my lady.
That's wonderful. There weren't any problems with it, I hope.
Nothing too serious. He's a little wild, but I was able to handle him in the end.
Well, that won't do. Sophie can't have some wild horse at her wedding starting a stampede.
暴れ馬らしかったから、なだめ方を事前に教わってたんよな。うっかりカットしてしまったけど。
If you sing to him, he calms down.
You sang to a horse?
It's quite true, I'm afraid. I sang to a horse.
Well, then you'll have to sing something to me, too.
My lady, I don't know if I...
So I know how to calm down that roan. Go ahead, sing.
Two horses come roaming in the merry month of May to graze in the shade of the apple tree there. The first one is brown and the second is grey. Which shall I ride to, my maiden so fair?
Oh, how beautiful! I'm not surprised the horse calmed down after hearing such a lovely voice. Anyway, I'll think about what to do with the roan. But thank you, Henry.
What can I do for you, my lady?
Nothing. You've done enough. And now I'd like to reward you.
That's not necessary, my lady. You taking the time to see me is reward enough.
Come now, Henry. No need for such modesty. I appreciate everything you've done for me, as well as your company. And there's something I'd like to give you. This shirt was my father's. He was built very much like you. Broad shoulders, strong chest. It should fit you just right.
But I can't accept this. It's too valuable.
It's too valuable to be left to the mercy of moths. It doesn't fit my husband well, and I've no one else to give it to. What's more, if you were to leave us again, I'd like you to have something to remember me by, so you don't forget me.
I could never forget you, my lady.
Well then, won't you try it on at least?
What? Right now?
Why not? Don't worry, I won't look. I'll turn my back.
And what if your husband comes in?
He won't.
おいおい、
Neither will
着替え
anyone
の
else.
最中、夫人の部屋で裸の男がおったとか、牢に入れられるで済むか？
All right then.
了承するんだ。いや、そんな展開があっても見てみたいなと思って。
I feel truly blessed to have you here. So long I yearned for young company. I really feel God heard my prayers and sent you to me.
I'm ready.
My, you do look handsome. As fine as any gentleman. When I was a little girl, there were always lots of other children around and young men and women of the court. It was so merry. I always hoped it would be like that when I was grown up too. But it was not God's plan.
You and Sir Divish had no children.
No. No, alas, we were not blessed. Twice I was with child, but they did not live. And now I fear there's no hope for me.
My lady. Forgive me, my lady. I shouldn't have.
I don't mind.
おい、この1時間、なんや？引くわ。実績、カサノバ、1000人の女性とベッドを共にした偉人として知られている人の名前やった。夫人は、初登場時からぐいぐい来る気配あったんだよね。今回は、カットとかでなく、絵面的に問題ないかと思ったものの、まさか高貴な貴族である夫人にまで。いやいや、これは罪深い。すやすや、1時間一緒に眠っただけかもしれん。次のメインクエストもこの地域なんやけど、ウズヒッツで文字覚えられるで。私たちは、ラッティの執政官から、このクエストを受注したんだよね。第5話での出来事やから、だいぶまとまりない動画の仕上がりやな。受注、遂行、報告と一連の流れでお伝えできればよかったけどね。
God be with you. I'd like to learn to read.
You? You don't look like the makings of a priest or clerk. But why not? I've taught all sorts. Bear in mind, it won't be all that easy. You'll need plenty of time and a few groschen for my trouble.
All right. I don't want to waste time. We can get started. The sooner I master it, the better.
Very well. I will require some groschen from you, though, and set aside at least a couple of days so I can put you through your paces, if indeed time is of the essence.
習得にも時間がかかるそうやから、瀕死の患者のための治療薬を作るレシピを読み解くのに、学んでいる時間があったかどうか、微妙やったね。
He did break his vow, but better than to dishonor it here. May he follow his heart.
夜を徹しての文字の習得、からの、朝チュン。まさか書記官と、本と添い寝でした。残念。
Wake up, lad.
何に期待してたんだ。
So, let's see you read a bit.
徹夜で文字覚えてたんやね。
There's a book here on the table. Try to read it.
Will I manage?
You ought to be able to. It's a simple text. Come back once you've
もう
worked
読め
your
る
way
ように
through
な
it.
ったんかな。まだ単語がちぐはぐなままやな。これは、日本語翻訳の話にもなるけど、日本語って、ある程度文字が前後していても、大まかな文脈さえわかれば、脳が勝手に補完して不思議と読み解けたりするよね。確かにそういうとこあるよな。タイポグリセミア現象なんて名が付けられて、昔、広告にこれを利用したお店があったみたいやで、興味がある方はググってみてな。動画見終わってからな。
I've read the book.
Wonderful. So tell me, what have you learned?
まさかのテスト形式？しっかり読んでみたんやけどさ、よく思ったことに当たってもいい結果は得られないってお話やったよな。
Excellent. You're one of my most
おう、
talented pupils.
ベストな回答だったみたい。さすがお姉ちゃん。
Like I
せやろ？
told you, books are
任しときっ
valuable.
て。
And
もう
the
一つの
words
回答も
expressed in them
まあそうやなって感じやけど、行間に隠された意味まで読み解かんとな。
Yes, you have the foundation. Remember, my boy, the pen is mightier than the sword. To fully learn your way around words will take a lot more reading yet. Now we'll move on to the second lesson, which will be much
ラ
harder.
テン語。
Many books are written in Latin, the language of erudite and religious men. If you really want to be able to read, there's no getting away from Latin. There's a book on the table with some text. Read it and then come back. You need not understand it, but you should master the letters.
I only just managed the fable about the goose, and now you're asking me to tackle Latin.
You're a clever lad. You'll manage.
ラテン語なんて読めるわけないで。理解する必要はなくて、文字を習得できればよい、とは言ってくれていたね。そう言われてもな。いや、元の単語が怪しい以上、 入れ替わってたらかなり厳しいな。文字の並びをなんとなくでも覚えて挑んでみるか。皆さんも、後で表示される回答選択肢を頭の中で選んでみてくださいね。視聴者参加型。なるほど。全くわからん。
I read the page.
So tell me, Distru what's
です
written
っ
there?
て意味だったことすら知らん。D 大文字はなかった。これは自信あるな。
Nullus est liber tam malus, ut non alique parte prosit.
Good heavens! Don't tell me you haven't had lessons
Oh.
before.
これもまた正解したみたい。
Well,
マジ
there's nothing more I
こ
can
の単語
teach.
のパーツは見たような気がするな。デらんねんけどな。
You can go and be your
外れていた場合の展開も気になってしまったけど、まあええか。
I'm feeling
賢いお姉ちゃんっていうのもいいね。アホ。まるで、本当のうちは賢くないみたいに。これまでも、本を手に入れたことはあったな。読むことができるようになったけど、試してみるか。おい、元書記官が隣に座ったぞ。他にいっぱい席空いてるのになぜ隣に、怖くて本読めへんやないか。ああ、睡眠とか、待機の時みたいに時間経過で読み進めるのね。進捗っていうのが、本をどれだけ読み進められたのかを表しているね。読むことで読書スキルが上がった。100% で読量ってことやろな。本一冊読むのにも結構時間かかる。宿泊所のベッドに移動して座って別の本を読んでいるよ。おっと、すごく暗くなってきたな。一日に読み進められる量にも制限あるのか。まあ少しずつ読んでいくようにしよう。連続で睡眠できる時間にも制限があって、朝を迎えるために意味なく待機をすることもあったから、読書時間として活用できるようになったね。それな。こんな暗さになるからな。動画的に大問題や。さてさて、メインクエストもそろそろ進めようと思って向かっているで。足を引きずっている男について宿泊所で聞くと、南の方の家に住んでるよってことだった。人だかりできてない？様子がおかしいね。なんかあったんやろか。
Move along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
If that's what you call nothing to see, I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's Captain Bernard. I'm investigating the attack at Neuhof, and I think this could be related.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhof?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him.
Sakra. Nothing's ever easy. I'll have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
端的に説明すると、腹を引き裂かれたルボシュが貼り付けにされていた。誰にでも安心して見ていただけるようにモザイク処理をしたけど、割とエグいな。精神へのダメージ回避。モザイクはオリジナルのゲーム表現を破壊する行為でもあるけど、やむなし。以前にも触れたけど、一応年齢制限あるゲームなのでな。
Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
Another thing about Lubosh. When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Just now. And nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
ジンチャー青年の話によれば、ルボシュは、ジンチャーに、死んだふりをしてやり過ごせって助けてくれたわけやから、ノイホフで殺人をした襲撃者たちの中でも、意見の対立があった。殺人には反対の立場の人間だったってことやったよな。襲撃者たちが何か揉めていたって話も聞けたもんね。その過激派にルボシュは始末されたみたいやな。騒ぎに集まった人々から話を聞いてみてるが。
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much, but I wouldn't wish an end like that on any man.
ウズヒッツの村でも評判はそないに良くなかったと。
Well, now I think of it, I hadn't seen him around for a while. No idea where he was skulking.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
He was a loner. He didn't even have any mates in the tavern.
That's all. Thank you.
名前も設定されてない村人に聞いても拉致があかんか。犯人はこの中にいないと思うの。いないよ。絶対。犯人はあなただ。違うからね。
My respects to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know anything about it, but ask all you want.
会話多い
That
な。
man Lubosh who was
時
murdered.
間かかりそうや
What。was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even
あ
talking to the、
新
priest
情
and
報。
went to
犯人
confession.
は司祭か。
I
お
was wondering
姉
what
ちゃん
he
に
was
かかれ
up
ば
to.
みんな犯
Take
人
to
に
the
なってし
faith
まう。
all of a sudden, but I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
クエストも進行したな。つまり、襲撃の後、殺されてしまう前、ルボシュは、教会で神父と会っていた。教会といえば、懺悔室、懺悔っていうイメージがあるね。罪を告白して許されるやつ。何かの罪について、神父に話していても不思議ではないな。でも、告白内容を、他の人に教えたりするかな。ああ、そんなことは、しないやろな。とにかく言ってみるしかない。
But he never said much.
That's all. Thank you.
教会に来たはずやけど、剣の訓練間違いなく神父やな。会話もできん。いて。素振りが止まった。目の前に立ったうちが悪いな。でもまさかヒットするとは。
I see you know how to wield a sword, father. I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
そうよな。戦いとは無縁な気が。
Practice with a stick. Reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
聖職者となる前は剣を扱っていたのかな。サイドクエスト間違えて受注してもた。ちょっと、今はメインやりたいからな。
Jesus Christ be praised. How may I serve you?
You live here?
Of course.
I mean here, in the presbytery.
Yeah, right here.
In the presbytery? With the parish priest?
Yes. What's the matter? Don't you like me?
いや、この前も出てきたけど、この世界の司祭はみんな、乱れてる。一応、恋愛禁止なはずなんやけどな。まあええけど。改めて、本筋の話を進めるか。
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son. And one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
やっぱりそうだろうね。すぐ他人に話しちゃう神父じゃ、誰も懺悔したくなくなるよ
There
ね。
must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances. And this is one of them.
ここで説得か。だいたい、このゲーム分かってきてんけど、説得に失敗したら遠回りさせられるって感じやな。教えを人々に解く神父を話術で訴えるのも厳しいかな。と思って、カリスマ性で訴えてみる。
Can you really look me in the eye and tell me that when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can. Because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening. In the tavern. Over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
Good luck to you.
お、ヤンフスの写本が出てきたな。考察に挑戦した第4話あたりの時点では、今後の展開とか予想もできんかったけど、この年代よりほんの少し先に重要な闘争が巻き起こるのは、調査の時にちょっと知ってしまっていてね。キリスト教改革派、プロテスタントの先駆けとなるフス派と、神聖ローマ帝国との間で大きな戦争があるんだよね。それがフス戦争。今作でどのように関連があるのか、またはないのか、未だ知るところではないけど、彼の写本が今出てきた。実は、テレサとのデート1回目でも名前自体は出てきたんだよ。ああ、会話にちょっと出てきただけやったよなこの時は。で、今回は、写本にも登録されたってわけ。夕方に、ゴドリン神父と酒場で会うことになっとる。ちょっと前に確認した時と客層が変わっていないね。あ、マーカーが店の中になってる。中でも飲んでたか。おったおった。お待たせ。
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. but maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
おら、また次元式か。こういう時隠す意味があまり分かってない。いずれ、話してはならない相手とかも出てきた
I'm
り。
sorry.
ご同意はどうなん
What
やろ
about
な
your。kin?
一応神父や信用してええか。
They're dead.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujitz, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noyo? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarreled.
えぐい死体が目の前にあったから省いたんやけど。裏切り者って壁に書いてあったんやで。ユダ、キリストを裏切った十二使徒の一人だね。ああ、友情を装った裏切りをした者がそう呼ばれるからな。
Souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
I notice there's a woman living with you at the presbytery.
What of it? Have you never met a cleric who lives with a woman before? Mother Church won't let me take her to wife. Too afraid it might lose its property to any heirs she bore me. But she cooks and cleans. And, well, as a man, I have my needs.
I'm not sure the parish priest at St. James would agree with you.
サイモン神父。
I heard he was a bit odd.
あなたの方がよほど変わってる。剣を振り、
Well, we've had
女
an
と暮らし
agreeable
酒を
chat,
飲む
but now
聖
let's
職
get
者。
down to business.
ルーン。
So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once,
かといえば、
you'll forever
信
be
徒の懺悔
tempted
の
to do
話
it
はき
again.
ちんと秘匿するんだよ
If
な。
people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
確かに難しいか。
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubos told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But, first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujitz is in Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. A tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days.
今は対立強行が立っている状況だって話をしたよね。
Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
いつの世も有名人のスキャンダルは注目されるか。
Recently, a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church, the lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
えらく同じ教徒でありながらも攻撃的に教会を批判する内容やったな。ね、このような活動が後に分裂を引き起こす争いに発展していったと。
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Who preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor? Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
あはは。確かに命の危機に瀕している隣人にも手を差し伸べなかった修道院。少し前に状況を目の当たりにしたとこやったよな。あれとは違って、俺は信徒と一緒に酒を飲むんだ。って親しみやすくはあるかな。
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
I'd like the beer.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
まだ飲むのかよ。よし飲もう。ヘンリー飲んでばっか
That
り
sounds
だ。
like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
歌が流れて飲みまくるやつ。恒例の流れになっちゃった。
Na kraj panunie sej smutek do mnie loi rano utek. Niech już może zimaj sad, do wczera żylne saje brak. Už sej bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejmě jich muži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední den. Půjďme se háby, panorama slávy a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem. Tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra jen tu jsou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned, ať točí se svět. Ty dneska vůbec nikdo neví, zase zítra je jízdy a není to naposled.
Enough of this!
Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped, and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can ride is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out. Oh, come on.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
出来上がってんな。もう、お酒飲んで殴り合ってばっかり。殴ってええのはどいつや？この人か？よっしゃ任せろ。ああ。あれ？ゴドフィンは？うち何もやってないです。なぜ片言？どないしよ？
Henry, I'm glad.
So, my dear, would you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
ぐでんぐでんだ。
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dears. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin, you're a buffoon.
ここどこ？あ。わからん。
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
何してんねん。大バカ者だよ。
And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old
葵は、ちょっと醤油買ってきてくれる？なんで突然から早いってきて。ほらほら、ちょっとね。
Priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Henry! なんてのを見せるんだ。いや見せてるのはうちか？わからん。うちが編集していて、でもそれはうちではなくて、葵が見たら、全カットやるな。これがうちにできる限界や。ゴドウィン、お前どうしたんや。最悪や。飲みすぎておかしなったか。
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
何言うてんねん。なんやこれ。でも、ゴドウィンがなんか憎めなくなった。
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell.
Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on my head. My guts. My poor suffering stomach. What was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me. I'd like to help you, but you can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
ただいま。あ、おかえり。どこまで進んだの？ゴドウィンが羊になって、ヘンリーが信徒に説教をすることになった。なるほど。わからん。羊になったってなんだろう。後で動画を見返してみよう。いや、それは良くないよ。ダメだよきっと。あ、ほら、酒場で聞いた説教を繰り返せとか言ってる。うわ、あの時の会話内容、ちゃんと見ていたか問われるのか。読書の時と同じで、しっかり内容を見てるか、時折チェック入るな。
Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
まあいけるやろ。なんせうちやし。頼もしい。
Come on then, what's the hold up? We've no time to waste.
行きますやんか。はよ行こうや。っていうか、裸で人前出るの恥ずかしいやん。装備前の姿見て思ったんだけど、序盤の頃装備を知らなくて。ハンス君と戦った時も裸で挑んだんだね。ああ確かにな。装備は大したもの持ってなかったやろけど、ナメプも甚だしいな。
What's the matter with you? We have to start mass. It's already late.
じゃあ走らんかい。大丈夫かよ。フラフラだ。
I thought he'd never show up. The swill dog.
Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait.
Look at him. Mother of God. Any minute now he'll throw up.
I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
その人も主犯ですよ。
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabilis a manus suas.
あかん。うち一番好きなキャラかもしれん。お下品すぎるよ。
Ac facite
in meam commemorationem. Brothers and sisters,
人違いちゃう
you may have
知らん
had
け
the
ど
honor
ふん
of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where by the grace of God was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
ああ。くどくもなければ、控えめでもなかったよな。酒場でゴドウィンさんから聞いた、ヤンフスの説教だね。終始、勢いがあって、攻撃的な論調だった。
I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
That boy has a cheek.
現状の教会の堕落ぶりを猛烈に批判してたよな。
Just as we are commanded to obey the priests in matters of virtue, so are we commanded to defy them face to face if they live contrary to God's commandments.
Hear that, Godwin?
お前のことやぞ。って言われてる。厳しい。厳しく続ける。
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, humans, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame! Shame upon them!
ヘンリー口出し者やな。ちょっとすごい。民衆は、特に、教皇のスキャンダルに関しての話が好きやとか言っとった。
And what sins? They live with harlots and keep concubines, even though only marital intercourse for the purpose of procreation is pure. If someone takes a woman or man only to satisfy their own lust, who seduces them to do so but Satan? And how much darker the sin if that man is a servant of the church? Who can turn his face to God, who fornicates and then puts on priestly robes?
Nothing we don't know about already.
これも、ゴドウィン、お前のことやぞって言われてる。
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates. Away with them.
We're fortunate to have our good father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
お、待てよ。今、うちらって、ゴドウィンから話が聞きたくてこんなことしてるんよな。味方してあげなくちゃまずい。
God sees what is happening on earth, and he is filled with righteous wrath that those who should seek the salvation of souls instead seek mammon and the idle comfort of lucrative posts. Blessed are the shepherds who share the poverty of their flock, who are as one with you and bear with you the burden of this earthly pilgrimage, who do not condemn your venial sins.
Aye, all honour to Godwin,
Let him drink like one of us.
ちょろいぜ。
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
なんかうまくいったな。そうだね。これもまた、失敗した時の展開も気になるとこだけど。
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that huss.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm glad
silver
he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. And I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So gluttony and fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubos tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you?
Well, now Lubos came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out? Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubos kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubos killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
なかなか面白い人物やったな。みんながどう思ったかはわからんけど。そうだね。修道院を見てきた後だと、人々との間に境界を作らず、寄り添って親しまれているのは伝わった。最後には話してしまったけど、誠実に秘密を守る姿勢でもあったしね。うちは、もう、羊でやられたな。羊？あ、次回は、ルボシュの仲間であった他の3人を探しに行くで。ご視聴ありがとうございました。ほな、またね。